Right now on News 3 this morning, Sunday, new week, new tariffs. As the Trump administration plans to impose another round of tariffs on Chinese goods, a Wisconsin senator reacts. And we have continuing coverage from Sun Prairie this morning as the community asks what's next. The opportunity you have this week to help those still recovering from tragedy. Plus, more changes are ahead for Verona road construction. The new project starting tomorrow that could impact your work week commute. Your news starts now.
This is News 3 This Morning Sunday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning Sunday. It is July 15th. I'm Josh Breiter. Meteorologist Chris Reese is back this morning. And Chris, we just can't catch a break from that humidity. It is soupy out there.
We can't. I laughed because you said new week, new tariffs. I was thinking new day, but same humidity that we have out there. In fact, that's led to a lot of fog this morning. So if you're getting ready to head out and about, especially if you live west of Madison, be prepared for that fog. My drive into work myself, I actually could not see. So that was quite interesting. Remember, use the low beams. Use the low beams if you're going to be out in that fog. Here's a live look, just looking to the west, and you see a lot of those lower lying areas. That's where you're going to run into the dense or the most dense of that fog, rather. Now, temperature wise, it is 70 with dew points. Whoo, get this, into the upper 60s. You see, there's only a 1 degree change between the temperature and the dew point, which is actually what leads to a lot of that fog. Everyone is in the 60s and 70s this morning, with dew points all in the 60s and 70s this morning. Now, as we go through the day, keeping that humidity around and adding some sunshine later on, we will see those heat indices into the upper 80s to right around 90 or so. The good news is we do have a chance for storms later on. That's all a part of cooling us off. By tomorrow, things will get a whole lot better. First alert traffic does continue to run smoothly this morning. No major issues or delays showing up. Just know it's a little foggy.
Of course, many are thinking we'll get the relief as the work week starts.
Yep.
So.
That sounds just about right.
Can't complain, though. Hey, any relief is good.
I'm going to be on vacation, so it's all right.
There you go. All right, Chris, thanks so much. New information this morning about a double fatal head-on crash in Dodge County from Friday. Police say 21-year-old Kaylee Gray was driving east on State Highway 19 near North Street in the township of Portland. That's about 1 mile east of Waterloo. We're told 28-year-old Perez Martinez was driving west when the crash happened. Both drivers were from Waterloo and died after colliding head-on. The Dodge County Sheriff's Office says they are still investigating whether a driver was heading the wrong way in the wrong lane or driving under the influence. You can look for updates on channel3000.com. Breaking overnight, Madison police are investigating after a shooting on the city's north side. It happened on the 500 block of Northport Drive. Police say they found a bullet hole in the apartment window of a 23-year-old woman. Luckily, she wasn't home at the time. Police say anyone with information should call Madison Area Crime Stoppers. Right now, the Dane County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help in finding another inmate declared AWOL from the Dane County Jail. His name is Anthony Davis. You can see him there on your screen. Police say he was released from jail to work at his approved employer, but he never showed up. Davis is 5'7", weighs 155 pounds, and is 30 years old. He was in jail for identity theft and criminal damage to property. Deputies ask anyone with information on his whereabouts, call 911. Developing this morning as the Trump administration prepares to impose new tariffs on Chinese goods, Senator Ron Johnson is heading to Milwaukee tomorrow morning to talk about that. These latest tariffs would impact a list of 6,000 products, including seafood, fruit, vegetables, yarn, wool, and baseball gloves imported from China. After China retaliated to the first round of U.S. tariffs, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce warned Wisconsin dairy farmers could see $1 billion hit to its tariffs. Harley-Davidson said the Chinese tariffs are forcing them to move production overseas. Senator Johnson says we should hold China accountable for its trade abuses, but not at the expense of American workers and businesses. Senator Johnson is hosting a roundtable discussion with Wisconsin businesses about those tariffs tomorrow morning at the Milwaukee Federal Building. Executives from Wisconsin manufacturing companies, farms, and cheese, and also ginseng producers will be there. That starts at 9 a.m. Monday. Looking ahead, the Madison City Council Executive Committee will select its choice for an interim alder to fill a vacant seat on the city's east side this week. They've looked at 5 resumes for the position, submitted earlier this month after Alder Denise DeMarb moved out of the district. That meeting is set for Tuesday night at 6. Applicants will also be there to answer questions. The executive committee will make a recommendation to the Common Council. They will take a final vote on Tuesday next week. Whoever is selected will be on the Common Council until a next election set for April 2019. 6:35 this morning, a handful of Democratic candidates for governor will be in Monroe Tuesday night for a public forum. Of the 8 candidates running, Matt Flynn, Mike McCabe, Kelder Roys, Paul Soglin, and Kathleen Vineout have confirmed they'll be there. The winner of the August primary will face Governor Walker, who is looking to become the second person in state history to be elected to a third 4-year term. That forum is set for 6:30 Tuesday at the Monroe Arts Center. Right now, former presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders is hoping his visit to Janesville energized voters to cast their ballots for 1st Congressional District candidate Randy Bryce this fall. Several hundred supporters turned out to the rally last night, where Bryce and Sanders emphasized their popular message calling for single-payer health care for all Americans and immigration reform. In his speech, Sanders characterized Bryce as a candidate who doesn't rely on big political donors.
What this campaign is about and what Randy is about is saying enough is enough. We're going to have a government that represents all of the people, not just the 1%.
Wisconsin's 1st District is a traditionally Republican area and home to House Speaker Paul Ryan. In the wake of his retirement, the 1st District has become a symbolic battleground, with Democrats hoping to capitalize on what's been called the blue wave during this year's midterm elections. Bryce is running against Janesville public school teacher Kathy Myers in the Democratic Party. Her campaign manager sent us this statement that says, in part, Senator Sanders should explain why he's spending time campaigning against a public school teacher running for Congress on a platform that includes Medicare for all, a $15 minimum wage, and a commitment to address climate change. Over on the Republican side, Brian Stiles' campaign released a statement saying, in part, Southeast Wisconsinites' paychecks would feel the burn with Senator Bernie Sanders and our opponents' out-of-touch far-left agenda. Stiles is one of 5 Republicans running for Speaker Paul Ryan's seat, along with Paul Nellen, Nick Polsey, Jeremy Ryan, and Kevin Steen. Staying in Rock County, happening tomorrow, a bus packed with 40 middle schoolers from Janesville and Delavan is leaving for Washington, D.C. to learn about American government and history. The students from the Janesville and Walworth County Boys and Girls Clubs won an all-expense-paid educational field trip to the nation's capital, along with 650 other Wisconsin students. Herb Cole Philanthropies is covering the cost of all meals, travel expenses, lodging, and exhibits. It was a $700,000 donation to 20 boys and girls clubs across the state. The Janesville and Walworth County clubs created their own custom itinerary and will be visiting the World War II Memorial, National Museum of African American History and Culture, and the Holocaust Museum, just to name a few of those stops. If you're driving on Madison's east side this morning, remember this first alert traffic note. South Brearley Street remains closed between East Main and East Wilson Streets for the Fête des Marquettes Festival. South Ingersoll Street has been closed in that area since Wednesday. Those streets are set to reopen early tomorrow morning, so everything should be back to normal in time for your work week commute. The annual French-themed festival remains a big hit here in Madison. It's put on by the Wilmar Neighborhood Center and the Willie Street Co-op. There's a ton of live music and food options, and it's free to hear the bands, but money from the food sales helps provide free community meals in the future from the neighborhood center. Fête des Marquettes opens for the day at 10 this morning and runs through 10 tonight. Also happening this weekend, Art Fair on the Square is celebrating its 60th year in Madison. The festival continues today, featuring everything from painting to photographs to handmade clothing and jewelry from more than 500 artists. That runs from 10 until 5. The fair draws nearly 200,000 visitors to the Capitol Square each year, and if day one was any indication, you might want to plan some extra time for parking.
So one thing that's really great about this event is it's a big Madison favorite. We know that lots of people from the community come out.
The fair is put on by the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art. This is one of its largest fundraisers. A heads up for drivers heading through Fitchburg. Starting tomorrow, crews will begin construction on noise barriers along southbound Verona Road between Raymond Road and Williamsburg Way. Asphalt paving on Maple Grove Drive near Highway 151 begins on Wednesday this week. That's for a new road salt storage facility going up across the road from the Badger Prairie Healthcare Center. Traffic will be down to a single lane there, so the DOT is telling you to anticipate delays and plan some extra time for your commute. The Sun Prairie community will continue the process of rebuilding in the week ahead, but this weekend is a time for reflection, especially a time to honor Sun Prairie Volunteer Fire Captain Corey Barr. Community members gathered at Sun Prairie High School Saturday to pay their respects to Barr and his family. He and his wife owned the Barr house, which was destroyed in that explosion. Barr went to check on a gas leak near his business as other firefighters evacuated people to safety. That's when the explosion happened.
Today, there are 50 to 100 people still alive because of the events of that day. And if Corey could say something right now, he would do everything the same way all over again.
Hundreds showed up to Barr's service, so many that they couldn't fit in the high school, and some of them had to watch on screens outside. We want to show you a sweet moment to come from this disaster. This is one of the handmade cards sent to the Sun Prairie Police Department this week. The department posted a photo of it on Facebook saying, quote, "Sometimes it's the smallest gestures that make the biggest difference." They said the cards have reminded them how lucky they are to have the overwhelming love and support of the community. Although our community has been in shock and saddened by the stories we've seen in Sun Prairie this week, it has also been moved to action. And so what have we here at News 3? On Tuesday, we are working with the Bank of Sun Prairie to host an all-day telethon raising money for the Disaster Relief Fund. Our phone lines will open at 4:30 a.m. and run until our final newscast of the day at 10. The Bank of Sun Prairie is assuring that 100% of the proceeds will be staying in the community. Again, join us on July 17th as we come together to give back to those in need. 6:42 right now. Temperatures are finally on their way down, so we're in for a treat heading into the work week. You're taking a live look over the Capitol this morning. Kind of a foggy and another hazy morning out there. So humid. Chris is back next, tracking more comfortable temperatures and if we can expect any storm chances in the week ahead. And later, all eyes are on tomorrow's big meeting between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. A preview of their first discussion after a new set of hacking indictments. Thanks for watching News 3 This Morning, Sunday.
And good morning to all of you yet again. A hot and humid morning. The thing is, we've seen rounds of showers and thunderstorms over the past couple of days. In fact, over the past 48 hours, we've really seen rain across the entire state of Wisconsin, including right here in and around the Madison area. How much rain you've seen? Well, it depends on your location. Some folks getting in on those really heavy showers and thunderstorms that put down a couple inches, and then other folks, especially as you get further to the south and east, not so much. Now, we do not have any showers and thunderstorms around us right now in Doppler track, though there is a chance for some showers and thunderstorms later on today. We're looking at the cold front to our north and west over parts of Minnesota as of now. In the meantime, it is very foggy. That fog's starting to lift, though, so that is good news. Once we get that fog lifting, we'll see some cloud cover in the sky. Otherwise, it'll be fairly nice. 70 degrees right now with those dew points into the upper 60s, so it is very juicy and kind of soupy as you do step out the door. All of us are in the 60s and 70s in terms of our temperatures this morning. Dew point-wise, everyone is in the 60s and 70s as well, so the air is oppressive, and that's a large reason why we are seeing so much fog. But keeping that in mind as we go through the afternoon, we will warm things up, likely feeling like 90 at times, especially if there's some sunshine. It could feel even warmer before those showers and thunderstorms begin to move on through here. Expect those showers and thunderstorms to pop up mainly after lunchtime. And it's not going to be a widespread washout kind of a rain, but a few of you will get rained on later on into the afternoon. We'll see those highs right around 87. Then to begin turning those showers and thunderstorms off, especially as we move into your Monday. In fact, by the time we get you towards Monday, things do feel a lot better. Only getting to about 82 degrees, but it's going to be substantially less humid, and throughout all of next week, staying with temperatures that are below average, and only a spike next weekend before going below average once again. Now, there are rain chances, of course, in your forecast as well. Those rain chances come not only today and into tomorrow, but additional rain chances towards the end of the week. That's a warm front, and then that rain chance on Sunday is the additional cold front before another amazing week next week.
I loved how you used the word juicy, and I think that's the perfect way to describe it. I feel like the last 4 or so mornings when I'm driving to work, I have to run the windshield wipers just because my windshield is fogging up from that humidity.
Exactly, and it's going to be that case going through the rest of this morning. Tomorrow should get better.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Anytime.
6:48 right now. The owner of the Lafayette County campground where a trailer tipped over, injuring one of the people inside Friday night, says his business is now working on a GoFundMe page for owners whose campers were uninsured. The news comes as residents of the southwest Wisconsin area are still recovering after this weekend's strong storms tore buildings off roofs, or roofs off buildings, ripped bricks off of buildings, and at a county campground, it actually tipped over trailers, as you can see here. Only one damaged camper was occupied at the time of the storm. Luckily, its occupants only sustained minor injuries. Now the campground community is rallying together to clean up and help those who completely lost their campers.
My friend Tony called and he said, "Are you at the camper yet?" And I'm like, "No." He goes, "Don't go. There's been a tornado. Your camper has been damaged." So then Nancy from the campground called me and then sent me a picture of my camper. And of course, it didn't look as bad until I came up here and then got to see the rest of the devastation.
Friday night storm brought with it winds of up to 70 miles an hour. 6:49 right now. We're heading behind a different kind of wheel this weekend as our Mark Kane packed on his helmet and went on this week's ride with Harvey. A look at the $25,000 slingshot. You can check out all of its features and the fun our riders had in it just ahead on News 3 This Morning Sunday.
We're tracking the fog this morning. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV camera as the fog continues to rise, eventually thinning out on the ground and leading to some cloud cover in the sky. The temperature 70 degrees right now with dew points into the upper 60s. As we go through the day, we're going to send those dew points into the 70s and pretty much stay there all day long. So do know that as you're stepping out, it's going to be very hot and very humid. Temperature-wise this morning, we're going to see temperatures rise to about 83 degrees by lunchtime, seeing 87 for the high with scattered showers and thunderstorms developing later on this afternoon. Josh?
Thanks, Chris. Coming up on 6:54 right now, when our auto expert Harvey Briggs shows up for a Behind the Wheel segment, we're never quite sure what we're in for, especially when he asks what size helmet our Mark Kane wears. In the wise words of Monty Python, and now for something completely different.
Polaris, snowmobiles,
that's right.
Motorcycles.
And now this.
What is it?
It's a slingshot. Technically, it's called an autocycle, which is half car, half motorcycle. Kind of straddles that thing between a car and a motorcycle.
Sort of a half car, half motorcycle.
Exactly.
Maybe like a mullet. Business in the front.
Party in the back.
So there you have it, the mullet of motoring, the half-breed of the highway, the rogue of the road.
No, we've got the steering wheel, we've got pedals, we've got a shift, stick shift.
That's about it.
That's about it, you know. And
no heat.
No heat, no air conditioning, no airbags.
No doors.
No doors, no problem.
Our SL Slingshot tester comes in at a little over $25,000 with bigger tires, nav, and what passes as a windshield. A base Slingshot starts around 19, and you can get into the low 30s with enough options.
It's 100% waterproof, everything. The electronics, the seats, everything are designed to get wet.
Including the driver and passenger.
You're not going to use this as a commuter vehicle. You know, you're not going to use it to run to the grocery store. This is your, third, fourth, whatever vehicle in the garage that you take out on the weekends to go have some fun.
The Slingshot is completely roadworthy, but keep in mind the roadworthiness varies from state to state. Some states allow you to drive it with a regular driver's license.
So in Wisconsin, you have to have a motorcycle license, but you don't have to wear a helmet. We're doing it because I think the people from Polaris know how I drive.
And we deeply thank Polaris for that. No offense, Harvey. Under the hood, a real motor, a four-banger from General Motors.
It's one of those things where it's so light, has just enough power, you can just smile and have a ton of fun with it. It's somebody who likes to be out in the open air. It could be someone who rides a motorcycle and this is just another toy for them. It could be somebody who has four-wheelers and wants a similar experience on the road.
And it's for someone who doesn't mind drawing attention to themselves.
I first drove this vehicle out in LA and we were driving down Pacific Coast Highway where there are Ferraris and Bentleys, and we parked in the parking lot and people came running over to get their picture taken next to this thing.
You know, we're driving by and everybody's looking at us.
Yeah, if you are in the witness protection program, do not buy this vehicle.
They're gonna find you.
Exactly.
There's more ahead here on News 3 This Morning Sunday. Today's top stories are next, including the search for another missing inmate from the Dane County Jail. But first, here's a preview of what's to come this morning on an all-new For the Record.
Good morning, I'm Neil Heinen, and today on For the Record, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Urban League of Greater Madison. Since 1968, the Urban League of Greater Madison has been an influential and powerful civic leader in ensuring education, employment, and empowerment for African Americans and other community members. And we'll talk about the past, the present, and the future of the Urban League with President and CEO Dr. Ruben Anthony and Board Chair Derek Smith. That's coming up this morning at 10:30 on WISC.
To cancel or confront, why some in Congress are suggesting President Trump skip his summit with Russian President Putin tomorrow, while others are urging him to demand answers about election meddling.
This is News 3 This Morning Sunday.
Good morning and welcome back to News 3 This Morning Sunday. It is July 15th, just after 7 o'clock now. I'm Josh Spreiter. We're going to check on your Sunday forecast with Chris in just a second, but first, we're learning new information about a head-on crash in Dodge County that killed 2 drivers Friday afternoon. Police say 21-year-old Kaylee Gray was driving east on State Highway 19 near North Street in the township of Portland. That's about 1 mile east of Waterloo. They say 28-year-old Perez Martinez was driving west when the crash happened. Both drivers were from Waterloo and died after colliding head-on. The Dodge County Sheriff's Office says they are still investigating whether a driver was heading the wrong way in the wrong lane or driving under the influence. They say we may not know those answers for several weeks. Right now, the Dane County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help in finding another inmate declared AWOL from the Dane County Jail. His name is Anthony Davis. Police say he was released from jail to work at his approved employer, but he never showed up. Davis is 5'7", weighs 155 pounds, and is 30 years old. He was in jail for identity theft and criminal damage to property. Deputies ask anyone with information on his whereabouts, call 911. Art Fair on the Square continues today as it celebrates 60 years of Madison this weekend. The festival featuring everything from paintings to photographs to handmade clothing and jewelry for more than 500 artists. It runs from 10 to 5. The fair draws nearly 200,000 visitors to the Capitol Square each year. And if day one was any indication, you might want to plan some extra time to find that parking spot. A heads up for drivers heading through Fitchburg. Starting tomorrow, crews will begin construction on noise barriers along southbound Verona Road between Raymond Road and Williamsburg Way. Asphalt paving on Maple Grove Drive near Highway 151 begins on Wednesday this week. That's for a new road salt storage facility going up across the road from the Badger Prairie Health Care Center. Traffic will be down to a single lane there, so the DOT is asking you to anticipate delays and plan extra time for your commute. Time now for weather. And Chris, did you say it's already 74 degrees out there?
That's right. We cannot catch a break from this heat and humidity. It is already 74 with those dew points well into the low 70s. So as you're stepping out the door this morning, it is going to be hot and humid. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stray away from this really quickly. A lot of you, if you don't know, I work with a lot of kids through local ministries, but this guy in the blue, happy birthday, Tyler. I promised him a shout out for completing a challenge. So there you go. Here's your birthday forecast, buddy. We're going to see sunshine early throughout the day. Temperatures rising through 81 by lunchtime. Chances for some showers and thunderstorms as we get you into the afternoon and evening. Eventually, those showers and thunderstorms do come to an end as we get you into your Monday. Traffic-wise, things do continue to run smoothly on the Beltline. No major issues or delays beginning to show up. In fact, all main highways across Dane County are running smoothly with no crashes or delays. Josh.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. 7:04 is your time right now. Happening tomorrow, President Donald Trump will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Helsinki, Finland. He'll be there, but the meeting comes as some in Congress are calling on the president to cancel his summit in light of recent hacking indictments. Others, however, are urging him to confront the Russian leader about election meddling. Errol Barnett reports.
President Trump is resisting calls to cancel his Monday meeting with Vladimir Putin. As Russia's foreign minister reveals, the U.S. requested that the one-on-one exclude aides.
That's what the American side proposed, and we are polite people, so we agreed.
Friday's announcement of grand jury charges against 12 Russian intelligence officers for election interference threatens to overshadow the meeting.
I know you'll ask, will we be talking about meddling? And I will absolutely bring that up.
Before the Justice Department statement, the president was asked what he hopes to achieve with the Russian president.
We'll be talking about Syria. We'll be talking about other parts of the Middle East. I will be talking about nuclear proliferation.
Democrats and some Republicans are telling President Trump to hold Putin accountable for intruding on the election. The special counsel indictment details how Russian agents stole private emails from Democratic operatives, publicizing the most damaging ones through online personas, DC leaks, and Guccifer 2.0. The White House responded, noting there are, quote, no allegations of knowing involvement by anyone on the Trump campaign. Roger Stone, a former Trump campaign associate, says he was unknowingly in contact with Russian operatives.
I certainly had a 24-word exchange with the persona Guccifer 2.0 over Twitter.
Now, the special counsel also notes hacking efforts began July 27, 2016. It's the same day candidate Trump publicly called on Russia to find Hillary Clinton's missing emails. Now, following their meeting in Helsinki Monday, Presidents Trump and Putin will hold a joint press conference. Errol Barnett, CBS News, Washington.
We will have the latest on that press conference and the summit tomorrow during News 3 this morning. Developing right now, Senator Ron Johnson is heading to Milwaukee tomorrow morning to address concerns as the Trump administration prepares to impose new tariffs on Chinese goods. These latest tariffs would impact a list of 6,000 products, including seafood, fruit, vegetables, yarn, wool, and baseball gloves imported from China. After China retaliated to the first round of U.S. tariffs, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce warned Wisconsin dairy farmers could see a $1 billion hit to tariffs. Now, Harley-Davidson says the Chinese tariffs are forcing them to move production overseas. Senator Johnson says we should hold China accountable for its trade abuses, but not at the expense of American workers and businesses. Senator Johnson is hosting a roundtable discussion with Wisconsin businesses about those tariffs tomorrow morning at the Milwaukee Federal Building. Executives from Wisconsin manufacturing companies, farms, cheese, and ginseng producers will also be there. That starts at 9 a.m. Monday. 7:07 right now. Looking ahead, the Madison City Council Executive Committee will select its choice for an interim alder to fill a vacant seat on the city's east side this week. They've looked at 5 resumes for that position submitted earlier this month after Alder Denise DeMarved moved out of that district. That meeting is set for Tuesday night at 6. Applicants will also be there to answer questions. The Executive Committee will make a recommendation to the Common Council. They'll take that final vote next week, Tuesday. Whoever is selected will be on the Common Council until the next election set for April 2019. A handful of Democratic candidates for governor will be in Monroe Tuesday night for a public forum. Of the 8 candidates running, Matt Flynn, Mike McCabe, Kelda Roys, Paul Soglin, and Kathleen Vineout have confirmed they'll be there. The winner of the August primary will face Governor Walker, who's looking to become the second person in state history to be elected to a 4-year term. That forum is Tuesday at the Monroe Arts Center beginning at 6:30. Coming up on 7:09 this Sunday morning, aiming for the fences. One of baseball's biggest sluggers is representing the Brewers as the #1 seed in tomorrow's Home Run Derby. We'll have a preview of that straight ahead. And he's hitting all the right notes, providing the perfect soundtrack to a summer night at the ballpark. We'll take you behind the scenes with the organist playing at this year's All-Star Game. The news is back in the morning right here on News 3 This Morning Sunday.
Good morning on this hot and humid Sunday. Already the temperature is 74 degrees, and we've got a ton of rain over the past 48 hours across pretty much all of the upper Midwest. Here in south central Wisconsin, we've seen a lot of rain in places too. It really just depended on where your location was. Some folks getting in on an inch, maybe 2 inches of rainfall or so. Other places, not so much, especially as you work your way to the south and east. Here on the weather patio, we've recorded about 6/10 of an inch of rain over the past 48 hours. Doppler track remains clear here in south central Wisconsin. As of now, there are some showers and thunderstorms over northern Minnesota right now. That's a cold front gradually pushing its way to the south, but it's going to bring some amazing stuff for your Monday. We've got a lot of fog out there right now, but that fog's starting to lift as the sun rises and the ground continues to heat this morning. 74 degrees, that temperature, the dew point 71. So like I said, as you step outside, you can feel a lot of that moisture. If you park in a garage and you begin to drive outside, your windows might fog up, and we are all across south central Wisconsin pretty much in the 70s at this point. You have a few lone places that are remaining into the upper 60s, but it's going to be a pretty toasty one going into the afternoon. We're going to keep these dew points in the 60s and 70s pretty much all day long. We'll see sunshine with temperatures heating up into the upper 80s, but in terms of the heat index, that's where things could feel like 90 or so at times before those showers and thunderstorms begin to get into the picture later on. Here's how that'll look. It won't be a widespread just washout for the afternoon, but you'll see isolated showers and storms that begin to go up over the course of time. We'll see those highs right around 87 degrees, then cooling things off with those clouds moving out in time for your Monday. Monday's going to feel great. We're going to see those temperatures staying in the low 80s. Check out Tuesday and Wednesday through Friday. That's where days will struggle to get out of the 70s, and a lot of days simply won't get out of the 70s. We're going to keep that humidity low on those days as well, keeping things feeling amazing. We do have rain chances arriving as we get you into Thursday and Friday. By Saturday and Sunday next week, we do warm things up ahead of another cold front. By Monday and Tuesday, the days at 9 and 10, it'll look or even feel great once again.
Some much needed relief the way it looks there.
Much needed relief, and I'll tell you what, for August standards and just looking farther down the road in the models, there are signs that it might stick around for quite some time.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
We'll see. I'll just keep looking at it.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Anytime.
We've been asking you to share your morning with us. Check out this photo. Jennifer Harris posted this on Facebook. You can see the sunrise with the little fog out there. I feel like we've experienced that a lot lately. A beautiful picture there. Thanks so much for sharing, Jennifer. So what does your morning look like? Be sure to take a picture and post it on the Channel 3000 Facebook page, or you can go to Twitter or Instagram and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We'll share our favorites always right here on News 3 This Morning. 7:15 right now. The Brewers' Jesus Aguilar has been one of the baseball's biggest sluggers in the first half of the season. That earned him a spot on the All-Star team and the #1 seed in this week's Home Run Derby. He'll be one of 8 players swinging for the fences in Washington tomorrow night. Kyle Schwarber and Javier Baez from the Cubs will also be competing. Aguilar is the first Brewers player to appear in the Home Run Derby since Prince Fielder and Ricky Weeks did in 2011. Fielder is the only Brewer to ever win the Derby, earning the crown in 2009. From the crack are a big part of the baseball experience, and at many ballparks that includes the old tradition of an organ. But what's it like to be the person playing those tunes? Karen Kafa takes us inside the booth with the organist, who will give this Tuesday's All-Star Game an old-fashioned soundtrack.
On a steamy summer night in Washington, Matthew Van Hoos is running up a score atop Nationals Park. He's been playing live organ riffs here since 2010.
You kind of get to know the players and like who is fast in the box and who isn't, because it makes a difference with the music.
Last fall, the Nationals invested in a new organ and moved Van Hoos into his own space.
You're trying to get a good amount of tremolo in the sound to make it have that real kind of ballpark organ sound as opposed to like more of like a church organ sound.
The new perch allows Van Hoos to play with the windows open, so the sounds of the ballpark, the crack of the bat, and the cheers of the crowd can better inspire his next tune.
Sometimes I'll try to do like typical baseball prompts, and sometimes I'll just throw a funny reference to a song.
He also gets ideas from an elite roster.
I actually got to know some of the other baseball organists at the stadiums, and so we kind of borrow ideas from each other.
He coordinates with the stadium DJ and other in-game entertainment in a symphony of sorts. When he's not here at the ballpark, Van Hoos is on the faculty at American University and putting a doctorate in piano performance to use in different venues.
I still do performances and solo recitals and collaborative recitals, so it's mostly piano when I'm out of here, and sometimes with some Baroque organ thrown in.
And while classical all-stars like Beethoven and Bach are consistent repertoire, the Nats are something else.
It's one of the great things about baseball is that anything can happen on a given night, so you never know. Like a night that might seem like it's nondescript actually becomes really interesting later on.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
This year, the Brewers have a record 5 players headed to Tuesday's game in D.C. Jesus Aguilar, Lorenzo Cain, Christian Yelich, Josh Hader, and the late ad Jeremy Jeffries will all represent the Brew Crew in the Midsummer Classic. Well, 7:18 right now. History is set to land at Truax Field this summer with one of the biggest and most prolific World War II-era bombers in town. We have a preview of the annual fly-in, bigger and better than ever, with drones and more than 100 different aircrafts. While the event attracts people from more than 80 countries every year. That's just ahead right here on News 3 This Morning, Sunday.
We are sweating already this morning. The temperature is 74 degrees right now with dew points into the low 70s. We're going to keep those dew points in the 70s just about all day long. Into the afternoon, highs right around 87 with the chance for some scattered showers or thunderstorms. Any sunshine with that heat and humidity means it'll feel like the upper 80s and mid 90s throughout the day. Josh?
Thanks, Chris. 7:22 is your time right now. History is set to land at Truax Field next weekend with one of the biggest and most prolific World War II era bombers in town. Earlier this week, we sat down with one of the men who helped organize the annual fly-in at the Dane County Airport. The EAA's annual fly-in brings history to life with a B-17 bomber set to land at Truax Field, transporting people back to time to the World War II era. People here will get a chance to fly in one of the war's most vital and magnificent aircrafts, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We're joined this morning by Experimental Aircraft Association's Executive Director, Dick Napinski. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So kind of a cool event. What can people kind of look forward to?
Well, with the B-17 coming to Madison as it has the past few years, it really gives people the opportunity to fly in that bomber and enjoy a whole new perspective, not only from the air over Madison, but also a look at what history was 75 years ago, flying in those bombers. And it's a great setup to our big event the following week, EAA AirVenture in Oshkosh.
So when is this all taking place?
Well, first of all, you mentioned the flights down at Truax Field will be the weekend before, and so people can stop on out there, take a look at the EAA.org website or the B17.org website for all the details on that. And for AirVenture, it starts July 23rd up in Oshkosh. 500,000 of our closest friends, 10,000 airplanes from more than 80 countries around the world.
And you said this is pretty unique to our area, right? I mean, there's a lot to really check out.
It is. This is one of the crown jewels of Wisconsin tourism. You take a look at what brings people from around the world to Wisconsin, AirVenture is certainly it. For 7 days, it's a celebration of aviation in Oshkosh, daily air shows, things for the kids, airplanes from all over the world, from the largest cargo airplanes and airliners all the way down to small ultralights and microlights.
So it kind of sounds like there's a little bit for everyone, which is kind of always interesting. You know, when you want to check out an event, it's good for the whole family.
It really is good for the whole family. If you're a history buff, if you're an aviation buff, if kids are interested in exploring things and hands-on type activities, we have a whole area of Kid Venture, where last year more than 25,000 kids went through, played on flight simulators, built model rockets and model airplanes, even took apart an aircraft engine, puts it back together again. So it's a lot of hands-on fun. And if you like to people watch, well, people from 80 countries, it's a great place to do that too, Josh.
That's my favorite thing to do. So if people are interested, what do they need to know? Do they need to sign up for anything beforehand?
You can get tickets beforehand. All you have to do, go to EAA.org, click on the AirVenture tab, all the prices, everything you need to know, all the schedules. Even if you want to come up, camp next to the flight line. We build a city of campers there every year, and it's a lot of fun as the world comes together to celebrate flight.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning. It sounds like a great event for the whole family.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. And you can head to the EAA's annual fly-in next Sunday, July 22nd, for the chance to ride on the B-17 bomber, considered one of the greatest airplanes ever built. There are also drones and hundreds of other planes on display. Tickets, again, can be bought online at EAA.org, although they come at a price nearly $450. 7:25 is your time. There's more news through this morning's Sunday ahead. We have a look at this morning's top stories when we come back, including the head-turning meeting between Trump and Russian president, now less than 24 hours away. Plus, construction changes are ahead as you get ready to start your work week. The new work being done on Verona Road that could impact drivers on the city's west side when News 3 This Morning Sunday returns. Sun Prairie strong. This weekend, the community is reflecting, rebuilding, and asking what's next. The opportunity you have this week to help those still recovering from tragedy.
This is News 3 This Morning, Sunday.
And a very good morning to you, and welcome back to News 3 This Morning, Sunday. It is just before 7:30 right now on this July 15th. I'm Josh Breiter. Chris will join us momentarily with your forecast, but first, let's get you caught up on this morning's headlines. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are preparing for their highly anticipated face-to-face meeting tomorrow at the Finnish presidential palace in Helsinki. Trump and Putin have met twice before during international meetings, but the Helsinki summit will be their first official stand-alone meeting. The meeting comes amid growing demands from congressional Democrats in particular for Trump to confront Putin about election meddling. You can look for more complete coverage tomorrow on News 3 This Morning. Right now, the Trump administration is preparing to impose a new round of tariffs on China. Tomorrow, Senator Ron Johnson is heading to Milwaukee to talk with Wisconsinites about that. These latest tariffs would impact a list of 6,000 products, including seafood, fruit, vegetables, yarn, wool, and baseball gloves imported from China. After China retaliated to the first round of U.S. tariffs, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce warned Wisconsin dairy farmers could see a $1 billion hit to its tariffs. Harley-Davidson said the Chinese tariffs are forcing them to move production overseas. Senator Johnson says we should hold China accountable for its trade abuses, but not at the expense of American workers and businesses. New information this morning about a head-on crash in Dodge County that killed 2 drivers Friday afternoon. Police say 21-year-old Kaylee Gray was driving east on State Highway 19 near North Street in the township of Portland. That's about a mile east of Waterloo. We're told 28-year-old Perez Martinez was driving west when that crash happened. Both drivers from Waterloo did die after that collide with the head-on there. The Dodge County Sheriff's Office says they are still investigating whether a driver was heading the wrong way in the wrong lane or driving under the influence. Stick with channel3000.com for updates. The Dane County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help this morning in finding another inmate declared AWOL from the Dane County Jail. His name is Anthony Davis. Police say he was released from jail to work at his approved employer, but say he never showed up. Davis is 5'7", weighs 155 pounds, and is 30 years old. He was in jail for identity theft and criminal damage to property. Deputies ask anyone with information on his whereabouts, call 911. And now Chris is back with your first alert forecast. Really warm out there to start off. Not too comfortable.
Not too comfortable at all. We've seen a lot of fog out there this morning, Josh. Still dealing with some of that fog right now, especially to the west of Madison. The good news is things are beginning to improve. They'll continue to improve as we go throughout the day and get the sun rising up here. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV camera. You can see over the course of time that fog that was initially down here now moving higher up into the sky. The temperature 74 with the dew points into the low 70s, which is why it's going to feel hot and humid as you step out the door. All of us are in the low 70s this morning, though a few of us do remain into the upper 60s. Dew points are also in the 70s and 60s this morning as well. And we'll be staying that way as we go throughout the day. So headed into the afternoon, don't be surprised if we see those heat indices make it into the 90s once again. And then, of course, we do have that chance for some showers and thunderstorms moving back into the picture by about 4 o'clock or so and into the early afternoon before turning things off. Eventually, that's going to lead to a much better Monday in terms of the heat and the humidity. Traffic continues to move along smoothly on the Beltline. You've got one car sitting on the shoulder as of now, but it's not causing any issues or delays. Across Dane County and the city of Madison, things do continue to look good with no major crashes. Traffic really just moving along at posted speed with no delays. Josh?
Thank you, Chris. Breaking overnight, Madison police are investigating after a shooting on the city's north side. It happened on the 500 block of Northport Drive. Police say they found a bullet hole in the apartment window of a 23-year-old woman. Luckily, she wasn't home at the time. Police say anyone with information should call Madison area Crime Stoppers. The Sun Prairie community will continue the process of rebuilding in the week ahead, but this weekend was a time for reflection, especially a time to honor Sun Prairie volunteer fire captain Corey Barr. Community members gathered at Sun Prairie High School Saturday to pay their respects to Barr and his family. He and his wife own the Barr house, which was destroyed in that explosion. Barr went to check on a gas leak near his business as other firefighters evacuated to safety. That's when the explosion happened.
Today, there are 50 to 100 people still alive because of the events of that day. And if Corey could say something right now, he would do everything the same way all over again.
Hundreds showed up to Barr's service, so many that those who couldn't fit in the high school had to watch on screens outside. And we want to show you this sweet moment to come from the disaster this week. This is one of the handmade cards sent to the Sun Prairie Police Department. The department posted a photo of it on Facebook saying, quote, "Sometimes it's the smallest gestures that make the difference." They said the cards have reminded them how lucky they are to have overwhelming love and support of the community. 7:34 is your time. Although our community has been shocked and saddened by the stories we've seen in Sun Prairie, it has also been moved to action, and so have we here at News 3. On Tuesday, we're working with the Bank of Sun Prairie to host an all-day telethon raising money for the Disaster Relief Fund. Our phone lines will be open at 4:30 a.m. and run until our final newscast at the end of the day at 10 o'clock. The Bank of Sun Prairie is assuring that 100% of those proceeds collected will stay in the community. Again, join us on July 17th as we come together to give back to those in need. If you're driving on Madison's east side this morning, remember this first alert traffic note. South Bruley Street remains closed between East Main and East Wilson Streets for the Fête des Marquettes Festival. South Ingersoll Street has been closed in that area since Wednesday. Those streets are set to reopen early tomorrow morning, so everything should be back to normal for your work week commute. That annual French Fiend Festival is put on by the Wilmar Neighborhood Center and the Willie Street Co-op. There's a ton of live music and food options. It's also free to hear from those bands, but money from the food sales helps provide free community meals in the future from the Neighborhood Center. Fête des Marquettes opens for the day at 10 this morning and runs through 10 tonight. Also continuing today, Art Fair on the Square. They're celebrating 60 years in Madison this weekend. The festival features everything from paintings to photographs to handmade clothing and jewelry from more than 500 artists. That runs from 10 to 5. The fair draws nearly 200,000 visitors to the Capitol Square each year. And if day one was any indication, you might want to plan some extra time to find that parking spot. A heads up for drivers heading through Fitchburg. Starting tomorrow, crews will begin construction on noise barriers along southbound Verona Road between Raymond Road and Williamsburg Way. Asphalt paving on Maple Grove Drive near Highway 151 begins on Wednesday this week. That's for a new road salt storage facility going up across the road from Badger Prairie Healthcare Center. Traffic will be down to a single lane there, so the DOT is asking you to anticipate delays and plan extra time for your commute. 7:37 is your time. If your weekend plans include some time in the kitchen, you've tuned in just in time. We're going to spice up your weekend. We've got ideas on how to use your farmers market purchases to whip up some flavorful, fun dishes. The news is back in the morning on News 3 This Morning Sunday.
It is very humid this morning. Dew points are into the 70s already. They're going to be staying that way as we go through pretty much the next 12 hours and beyond. It's going to take through the day on Monday before we begin to cool off. Given that we'll see some sunshine today and additional warm temperatures, those heat indices are going to make it back into the 90s by this afternoon. Be prepared to drink plenty of water and stay cool if you have that opportunity to do so. We will have some scattered showers and thunderstorms developing. They will not be a washout, but nonetheless, some of you will get a little drink of water before we allow that cold front to completely move through, clearing us out by Monday and taking away that humidity in the upcoming week. Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. 7:41 is your time right now. The summer is the perfect time to head to the farmer's market, pick up some fresh produce and flavorful spices. But those delicious goods don't do a whole lot if you don't know how to use them right. So this morning we're joined by Leah Sugar. She's the founder of House Logic, and you've got some tips on how to kind of take it to the next level, right?
Absolutely, and the farmer's market is a great place to inspire creativity in your cooking and as well as your spice rack. And if you can kind of pull from those different things to make your barbecue something that's really special and interesting, you can give people a more unique experience than their typical summer barbecue.
And you kind of said that sometimes it doesn't take a lot, right? It just takes a little bit of something to make it into something really special.
Yeah, and you can do different varieties on things too. So like the farmer's market right now, the meat is really amazing. You can get some beef and some poultry, and then you can make a nice marinade for your kebab, something like that. That will really make a special summer barbecue. If you add a little, just start with oil and vinegar, add a little garlic, some of the things from your spice rack if you like spice, and you can add some cayenne pepper, and really make a wonderful summer kebab.
I know one of the things people are always worried about using too much of a seasoning. I mean, what's kind of your recommendation?
That's the wonderful thing about cooking is you can really just throw a little in, taste it, see how it tastes, especially if you're doing something like, let's say you're making sweet corn and you want to add some spices to your sweet corn. Just taste it, see how it is, add a little more. Just a little at a time will make sure that it stays flavorful, but I don't think people should be scared. There's really wonderful ways to experiment and do interesting things just by looking at what you have in your spice rack.
And you've got kind of a little bit of a layout out here. Kind of what are the most popular ones, I guess?
Yeah, so that's what I brought here, some things that will really make your food beautiful and flavorful. Just look at the colors. I mean, they are amazing. And then if you add some of those beautiful colored foods from the farmer's market, it's really going to be stunning. I like the chili flakes, if you like a little bit of spice in something, that can go on corn, it can go on meat. It could even go with a salad if you're doing something a little bit like an Asian spicy salad. Garlic powder is just great on everything, corn, meat, everything. Dill makes a great salad dressing. You can mix that with a nice vinaigrette for a good salad dressing. And then salt and pepper, you definitely want to use those liberally.
So I know you've got a kind of some, obviously during summer there's a lot of grilling, right? What are kind of some of your tips as far as that goes?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like kebabs for summer grilling because you can do it ahead of time. You can do lots of different varieties. They come off the grill fast. So if you've got a group, they're not waiting too long. Those are great. You definitely want to go with sweet corn because that is a Wisconsin staple. And also I think adding something green like a green salad or some vegetables is really important because we get so many hamburgers and hot dogs all summer that I think people are a little relieved to have a nice fresh salad.
And I think it's so cool to see, especially with the farmer's market, you can get all of this stuff locally too. And locally owned and grown, I think that's always a nice way to add to your food, right?
It is. It's nice to feel that we're supporting our local farmers. It also is going to taste fresher. And when you're buying stuff in season, it's less expensive.
And it just tastes so much better. I know for me too, sometimes I just add a little bit of something and it can be something completely different.
Yeah, and especially just like if you have a really great sweet corn, all you need is a little salt and a lot of butter, and it's just fabulous because the flavor is so wonderful in those fresh foods.
Awesome. So some great tips this morning. If people have any questions, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, our website is allspicerack.com, and they can contact us at contact@allspicerack.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. Some great tips. So finally, some good news weather-wise. Chris says that things are going to start feeling more comfortable this week. Much needed relief is in the forecast as we take a live look over the Capitol on this hazy Sunday morning. Artists, of course, preparing for another busy day at Art Fair on the Square. But first, happy birthday to Olivia and everyone else turning 3 years old today.
Happy Sunday to all of you. If you have not stopped outside yet, it is very humid. In fact, all the moisture that we've gotten in the ground over the past couple of days really adding to the humidity that we feel. A lot of places have received some rain over the past 48 hours. Some places receiving a few inches of rain, but as you work your way south and east of Madison, those rain totals really did begin to die on off. Now, we're not tracking any rain so far as of now. There are some showers and thunderstorms across northern Minnesota right now. This is the actual cold front working its way to the south and east. Now, visible cloud track shows you the sunrise, how it's dark initially, and then these clouds become visible. And you can actually see the cold front snaking across the upper Midwest. That will eventually work its way to the south and east as we go throughout the day. In the meantime, it's foggy, but it is also very warm, 74 degrees, the temperature. Those dew points in the 70s as well, which is why you can feel essentially the moisture in the atmosphere as you begin to step outside. We do have some folks that are still in the 60s, Camp Douglas and Black River Falls at 69 right now. Here in Madison, we're at 74, Janesville at 73 as of now. As we go through the day, we're going to keep those temperatures going up. Dew points also staying steady into the 60s and 70s as well before that cold front gets on through here. In fact, you can see it across the entire deep south through the nation's heartland up through the upper Midwest. We've got those dew points in the 60s and 70s, but check out just to the north and west where we have dew points in the 50s and 40s. That is the air that we are waiting to get on in here as we get you through the middle of, or really tomorrow and into the start of next week. But until then, we're going to see those heat indices making it all the way up into the mid and upper 90s today. There is a chance for some showers and thunderstorms later on this afternoon. It's not going to be a washout. They will be spotty, and nature will top out right around 87 degrees before cooling off into the 70s overnight and staying pretty much in the 70s and 80s for your Monday with a lot of sunshine. This morning, we'll see temperatures making it to 83 by about lunchtime, topping out right around 87 into the afternoon. And then we're staying in the 80s through tomorrow, but struggling to get out of the 80s for Tuesday and Wednesday. 77 for your Thursday with the chance of some rain. And then 80s do return by next weekend before another cold front brings us right back down into the 70s. Here's your pet walk. Say hello to Tux the cat in Madison. Now, if you were going to be walking your cat, which I have to imagine is challenging, especially in some potential thunderstorms, the temperatures will be in the mid-80s.
Tux looks good, though.
Tux
Taking
does.
a little nap.
I know. Those naps seem like quite a thing to do.
All right, Chris, thanks so much.
Anytime.
Stay with News 3 today. Tonight at 5:30 and 10, we'll share the local community riding in memory of their loved ones who've passed away, celebrating their love of life and motorcycles. But first on News 3 this morning, Sunday, wishing kids a Merry Christmas in July. Meet the 11-year-old taking on Santa-sized responsibilities this summer by giving kids who are battling cancer, a struggle he knows way too well. Welcome back at 7:54 this morning. An 11-year-old boy is giving back in a very special way on his birthday. He's a cancer survivor himself, and he spent the day giving cancer patients a Christmas in July.
That's right. Aaron Wright takes us to the celebration.
It's in the mid-90s outside, but the Children's Hospital of San Antonio is decked out for Christmas.
These two cars, maybe?
The party planner, 11-year-old Reed Smith. This time last year, he was a patient.
I went in for an MRI, and they found a tumor on my upper spine area. So I had to have surgery, and so they had to go in and remove it.
Reed's now in remission, but didn't forget his birthday battling cancer.
And so I got tons of presents, and I just was like, next year I'm gonna give presents to the kids that are in the hospital.
He collected presents and cash.
And I raised $1,000.
The party includes a visit from Santa, coloring, crafts, and even cake. The celebration is a welcome gift for families praying for better health.
You know, it's giving entertainment to the kids that are here for a long period of time.
This is just a huge blessing for all of us, and we appreciate everything that they do just to distract her from pain and everything. It's just amazing.
Parents like Daisy Rangel say today is a lot more than a party. It's motivation to keep fighting.
We've been here for about 3.5 weeks now, and so she's doing a lot better. So this motivates her to come down and take her walks like she needs to. So, and it also brings a smile to her face because we haven't seen that smile in a while.
The Child Life Center staff is proud of Reed and his drive to give.
He knows from firsthand experience what it's like to be in a hospital and how sometimes it can be intimidating, but by having items like this and experiences like this, that it just helps make their stay a little bit more comfortable.
One by one, kids got their presents and encouragement to keep being kids and never give up.
Just to keep on fighting.
I just love those little kiddos. Sometimes they make the biggest difference, right?
I was going to say, you have to love when kids are just out making a difference and doing good things. So that's fantastic. The forecast for today does remain pretty hot and humid, Josh, but we do have that chance for some showers and thunderstorms coming back into the picture. We'll see those highs right around 87 degrees before that cold front begins to sweep on through and cool us off. We'll see heat indices making it into the low and mid 90s before then. This afternoon seeing highs right around 87. Again, that chance for a few showers or thunderstorms cannot be ruled out. Check out next week. Woo! I will not even be here to enjoy it, but it's going to look pretty nice for those of you still in Wisconsin.
Looking forward to some relief. Have a wonderful day.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.